Hello, welcome to this video, which is Remember to Be Human, which I am doing a new intro because I made this video into a mess just like the video before. It's hard to be human because it became a mess because I realized something like I started this series to, potentially, do good, to, help rather than hurt. But, um, eventually it got complicated with the several iterations of It's Hard to Be Human now with this video as well. Like, it's hard to, make something like this because like there's so many things to think about, and with more and more people watching me, as time goes on, the pressure increases. So you know I'm trying to do something good, but you know who knows if it will ever be actually helpful. So yeah, all I can try is try my best, yeah. And I want to thank you all for your support on, you know, the last video, It's Hard to Be Human, because it made me realize that, even though I can't, help everyone, as long as I help someone, the video's done good, So yeah, just, I got so caught up in thinking about the negatives and focusing on the negative that I never really looked at the positive, because as humans we focus on the negative. So one thing, you know, you gotta remember when to be human is look at the positives, every now and then, Otherwise, you get so drowned out by the negativity that, it, it, it becomes insane. So, yeah. But, yeah. Yeah. But, yeah. So, yeah. So, I'm going to summarize some of the video right here, right now. Like, just because, just be kind and try and be thoughtful and, you know, self reflect, be mindful and reflect on your own life and your own decisions. I don't know if my decisions will help or not, but I tried at least. So yeah, that's all I can do. But got so complicated, but I don't want to delete any of the old stuff because I want to show the complicated nature, because that's a part of being human. It's complicated. So yeah. Anyway, yeah, you know, just be kind, try and be respectful, and yeah, because at time of recording, let me show, it's game awards and like, um, oh, I paused that one, um, but it's the game awards, and I see some people like just not exactly being respectful, like if you have nothing nice to say nothing at all, as the old saying goes, because I saw people in the, like when that the Herald of Darkness song from Alan Wake 2 was playing, I saw like comments in the the main thing being like skip, like like you know, you know, like skip, like let's get to the good stuff, not really being, respectful, you know, like, people will be, however they are because, they want to see the stuff they're interested in. They won't really care about anything else. Like, sometimes you only focus, have a narrow mind, focus on whatever you're interested on. And to be fair, like, most of the time, I wouldn't care, but at least I would stay quiet, like, that game looks somewhat interesting, but I'd probably never play. It looks like a generic game, like, you know, being a gamer myself, I can understand, but still, you gotta at least be somewhat uh, thoughtful, and not be like, meh, like, you know, we can be so, narrow minded on basically just, um, what we want, but, we won't care about what others want, so yeah. Just try and keep, an open mind, and yeah, but yeah. Just, try and keep, an open mind, and yeah. And try and be kind, and yeah. And mindful, and yeah. But yeah, I definitely want to say thank you to everyone watching because, yeah, it got me through, the complicated, stuff of that last year into this year, and yeah, yeah, um, so I just want to thank you all, and yeah, um, yeah. Anyway, I'm trying to think of if there was anything else I'm going to have at the beginning, because there will be a new part at the end as well, you know, because I want to new epilogues of end bits. But yeah, just be kind, try and be thoughtful, If you have nothing nice to say, just don't say anything at all, You know, sometimes it's better that way, but if you have something valid to say, then say it. Sometimes you gotta be a little bit cruel, If you really have something valid to say, then do say it. There's always room for, criticism and, that. But I'm just saying, like, if it's unnecessarily, like, toxic or, like, unnecessarily just, like, unthoughtful, like, then maybe don't say it, like, saying, like, skipping the game awards because that's like unthoughtful to the fans of our game series. Sure, I know you want to see the particular game series you are invested in, but like just try and be thoughtful, and yeah, but yeah, I definitely want to thank you all because it means a lot, and I think the reason why these two videos have been so complicated, like the last two in this trilogy, is because of, one, you know, increased pressure of, I've gone up subscribers, so, you know, more pressure on me to perform, at peak. So yeah, there are, negatives to, having more and more people watching, but there's also positives as well. So yeah, it's nothing against anyone watching, it's just, it is how it is, pressure increases with more people watching. That's, you know, just how it is. And another factor as to why these videos is being so messy is probably, unresolved issues within myself. Like, even though Riku and Blue are back, technically as a part of my friend group, they haven't yet played their characters at time of recording, like when I hoped, Roger's coming back, I would hope, Riku as Rogers, but, you know, you know, that didn't happen, expectation, is never the same as reality. When the thing happens in reality, it's often not as great and grand as you would hope. Like, it was a good thing they're back, but without actually, stepping in, like, back to where they once were, like, without things being exactly the same as they once were, it isn't the same. Like, the magic is lost, that special feeling is gone, and all that's left is pain, and even if things kind of return to normal, they're never quite the same, so it just leads to, pain, and yeah. But anyway, yeah, I don't want to be any more negative, so yeah, I won't be in this moment, but I don't know about past me. But yeah, I'll leave it back to past me to do the past intro. So yeah, take it away past me, and yeah, there'll also be a new ending bit at the end. So yeah. Anyway, yeah, back to past me. Hello, welcome to this video, which is Remember to be Human. One thing I should note at the start is, be kind, be respectful, try and understand where other people's opinions come from, because obviously I'm giving my opinions. If you're going to have a discussion in the comment sections, be civil, and yeah, just be cool. And the reason why I'm doing this is, even though I think my original intro was fairly good, I wanted to add this at the beginning, and this video now has already ended up being like 2.5 hours, over 2.5 hours. So it's starting to turn into a it's hard to be human case where I keep adding on and on to it because I don't know why, but it's become so messy to make these videos without me doubting myself or feeling like I need to do more. Like, compared to It's Okay to Be Human, that one was like one and done. I may have had to add like one thing at the end just because I forgot, but otherwise, like, It's Okay to Be Human was done, one and done, out the window. But then when it came to It's Hard to Be Human, it got so complicated. Same with this one, it's already over 2.5 hours, and the original was only like 40 minutes, so it was similar to, It's Okay to Be Human. So yeah, these videos become complex because the world is complex, and trying to address everything without, seeming like I'm insensitive is a hard task. Like, and I still ultimately agree with most of what I said. I probably still, have most of, the same opinions. I haven't really changed, but, I still think, it starts to become so overcomplicated that it becomes dumb, and like the whole point of the video eventually gets lost, which is why It's Okay to Be Human was probably the most perfect one, because it was straight to the point. I didn't really need to do anything to fix it. And yeah, it was the perfect one, where these ones have become so complicated, like in me trying to do the right thing, that it started to lose the point, but hopefully the point still comes across. Anyway, yeah, I'll leave it to past me and the past intro. So yeah, take it away, past me. Hello, welcome to this video being Remember to Be Human, which is a sequel to It's Okay to Be Human, It's Hard to Be Human, the third in the trilogy. And I think I know why I say exactly in this video, where the last one I got very I don't know the best word to put it as, but it became too much, and maybe it lost the point a bit. Like, it was too potentially long at 5.5 hours over 4 different iterations. So yeah, so this time I'm gonna be more succinct, hopefully, and clear. And hopefully that won't be a billion iterations this time. But anyway, let's begin. So, why am I making this video? Like, it's to give out the message of sometimes we forget to be human, because with our complicated lives, we, tend to focus on ourselves or the ones closest to us, and we tend to forget, people are people, they have their own life and struggles, and we tend to, dissociate from others we don't know, and, alienate others, and, we, focus on ourselves, or, friends that we already have, or, family we already have, it's, not necessarily a bad thing. It's just how we are as, people. We tend to, focus on ourselves first, and then have to, worry about whoever's, close to us, but, we don't really worry about anyone else. And yeah, it is, somewhat a flaw in my opinion of, humanity. Like, there's nothing that can really be done, because it's not like you can be friends with, everyone. That's technically unreasonable. All I'm saying is potentially, you know, try and, not, you know, be hostile towards others, try and not, put down others or try and make others do something they don't want to do, because one other thing we tend to do is try and, force people, to conform to certain ways, because usually that's the only way we've known is to like follow one path. So we tend to, try and make everyone conform to make things easier for us. But you should allow people, freedom of choice, Obviously, sometimes there'll be, times where a choice will come down to multiple people, So it's harder when it's a group decision, because, there can be conflicting interests in a group compared to just an individual decision. Like an individual's decision is like, if I'm going to have, coffee or soda, like soft drink, you know, um, you know, that's like a very basic choice. But that's technically like a personal choice. Just for example, you know, I'm just trying to give out, an easy example, you know, um, yeah. So when it comes to, group decision, it's a lot harder because you gotta try and compromise somewhere in the middle for multiple people, It's hard to, you know, make everyone pleased. But that doesn't mean, you know, putting other people's ideas down or like crushing them or, alienating people, You know, we should all try a little bit harder to, try not to make people feel excluded. And yeah, so yeah, with, how hectic life is, we tend to forget, how to be human. Like, life is hectic, especially, right now, after, COVID. I know, you know, YouTube probably might, not like me saying the word COVID, but I'm gonna say it anyway because, it's avoided like the Black Plague, like saying the word directly, and I rather addressed it like head on. So yeah, and I feel like there was a lot of negative that was unseen that was caused by COVID, not just, economic stuff that makes life harder right now, and probably one of the reasons why we've had to focus more on ourselves and, close loved ones, and, become technically more selfish. The other unforeseen consequences of COVID is that since we were, isolated, self isolated, isolating each other from each other, we forgot to be human, We forgot to be actually people, For a long time, we had zero social interaction other than potentially online, but it wasn't, real life interaction, because real life interaction will, never be quite the same as online, no matter like how much, you know, you try to make it similar, you can never quite have the same experience between virtual and reality. Like, despite however close it may eventually get, there's always going to be a difference between reality and virtual. Like you can, in real life actually see, the expressions of a person. You can, see if they're sad or happy, or, see if they're potentially lying, like. So yeah, but we've probably, lost those skills, because we were isolated. It's probably another factor to why we've become, probably inadvertently more selfish. Like, like you might not even realize it, but anyone could technically be a part of the problem, even if you feel like you may not be a part of the problem. Just maybe self-reflect for a second to see, like, have I done potentially anything wrong? Like, a very good thing to do in life is just self-reflect. We're always, moving forward all the time, like, because we kind of have to. Like, we're always forced to go forwards. Otherwise, we potentially, die. Like, if we don't do our jobs, whatever it may be, where, like a like someone that works in supermarkets, or, a doctor or whatever, nonetheless, we've always got to focus on our jobs and our lives, and we're always going forwards constantly, and there's never really, a chance to stay in the moment and just, enjoy the moment, because everything moves so fast. So, yeah, it means that we usually don't think about our own actions too deeply. We don't self reflect often enough. So, that's why, I, try to, at least self reflect at least a little bit. Like, even if it's just a small, 5-minute thing each day, or even a 1-minute thing, like however long you feel like you should do it. Like, I can't dictate your choices, you know, that's up to you. You gotta make your own choices. And that ties back into, why I said earlier, you can't force people to make choices they don't want to. It's ultimately up to you. It's what I'm just saying is, a suggestion, but self reflection could, potentially be, a way of helping, just by self reflecting and, trying to make up for your mistakes, and just try and be a little bit more kind. And, obviously it's going to be impossible to be kind to everyone. Earth has, 7 billion plus people. you know it's obviously impossible, but just try a little bit harder and try and reflect on your actions and see if there was potentially anything you did do wrong. Like, it's sometimes unintended. Like, we don't sometimes mean to harm others, but we may just do that. You know, yeah, again, I've mentioned my mistakes, the failures of failing my friends, Elsie, because I was a dumb kid and, you know, I made a dumb decision to no longer be friends with her, even though that would have definitely been, fully possible. But I went off like, I don't know, anime logic, like, spoiler warning for can't speak, Comey can't communicate, but in the ending, it's like seemingly like Tano and Comey are gonna stop being friends. Like, are you too dumb? Like, you can be friends even if you're not in the same class. You know, that's you can be friends, no matter what. But seeing that, I made the same mistake, back in, you know, grade 4 into grade 5, I guess I can't really comment too highly because, you know, it's technically, hypocritical, but, I have tried to, not repeat the mistakes of the past, even though it took two more mistakes to make me learn my lesson, because then obviously there was Joker. Yeah, again, this is not a joke because it was in the game Among Us, since it was the year of, 2020, you know, I have failed, you know, Joker technically because I was impatient and I tried to tell him a million times I did not have a brother. It was just me using both my computer and my phone to play Among Us. Like, nowadays I would not be able to do that, multitask between the two, but somehow I was like doing that in Among Us, and yeah, um, yeah, it's you know, kind of crazy that I could do that. Basically multitask. You know, and actually for human being into thinking that potentially, I had a brother, and then one time I was like, okay, the joke's over. I don't actually have a brother. And being genuinely honest, like they didn't believe me, and I tried to tell them again and again and again, but eventually gave up and left them as a friend, and you know, maybe it was a poor decision, but I didn't have the patience to keep trying. So yeah, that was my second time I left a friend. Yeah, again, the weakest of the three, but still nonetheless a mistake. Just like, Elsie. And then finally, X Gene was my third mistake, as they were having, trouble in life. They seemed like they were not mentally happy. And at the time, it was just before me going into basically TAFE and university. So I was worried about what would happen in my own life. Like I was worried about confronting real life, because up until that point I never really went out. Like, the only thing I really did, you know, do was, school, you know, go out for school, but that wasn't really going out. That was going to a designated location to, get educated. But yeah. So yeah, I never really, you know, was you know, outgoing. Like I was always the shy one and like never really spoke. So yeah. So my fears of reality clouded my judgments in that moment where I should have stayed and helped X-Gene. I just left them, stopped being friends with them because I could not confront my own inner demons at the time. And yeah, it's definitely one of the worst mistakes because, yeah, probably the worst because that one, they probably still continued to struggle, probably on their own. Like, they had another friend, I know that, like, because I had met them, but, still they were basically alone and I failed them severely and I regret that choice. So yeah, that one I regret the most. Joker I regret the least, and Elsie is somewhere in the middle because I cannot know what happened in the end of the day. Like I don't know if my decision, potentially made it harder for her in life, because what I know is the, immediate aftermath of it. So yeah, which was not much, just assumed that she was fine, but really didn't actually know. So yeah, I've made mistakes too. I forgot to be, human, you know, you gotta remember that sometimes, try and actually think about others, but nonetheless, sometimes, you make mistakes, and you'll sometimes, regret those mistakes for many, many years, it is what it is. So yeah, just try and be kind as people. Just try and, be mindful and reflect and just try and do better, I guess. Try and be human, You know, COVID, has probably, amplified the problems of, the modern day, It had unforeseen consequences beyond, the stuff we can see, like economic instability, but also, affected us as people, you know, people's natures, to connect with others, but, that kind of was all wrecked when, COVID, showed up. COVID, affected many things. And seeing that I was one of the people in 2020 that was a grade 12 student, yeah, not fun. Not fun times to be, doing school. Not to mention, as I mentioned before, I'm Queenslander, and Queensland didn't have a certain system known as ATAR until, you know, technically started in 2019, and yet again, so 2019 I was in grade 11, starting with the ATAR system, going into grade 12, still with the ATAR system. So yeah, like, like, I had to deal with a new system that I've only just been introduced to, our state, and, deal with grade 12. So yeah, not fun. Not fun indeed. At least, the time, the self isolation time was a lot less for where I am. Yeah, again, I mentioned Brisbaner, you know, because I mentioned about that Comic Con thing. uh, when I volunteered for Comic Con, you know, yeah, the 2020 wasn't great, but there was some good, like Ernest Honest was one. Um, you know, at the end of 2020, December of 2020 would be when I started, my VR chat journey and would meet basically all the friends I would have today through VR chat. So yeah, if it wasn't for VR chat, I would potentially still be very shy. Like, I'm still fairly shy in real life, but, I have been able to crack my shell a lot since my school days, and uh, and it's sad. Like, I technically probably will never see any of those people that I knew in my high school ever again. Even some in particular that I would rather see again. But, it may never happen. Like, I might as well tell your secret here. The character of the lady that knows everything, who had the name both Rebecca and Alana, that second name, Alana, was actually inspired by a good friend of mine. So yeah, literally named one of my own characters after a good friend. Uh, the lady who knows everything, who will probably show up yet again in the story later. Um, I don't think I'm done with her, especially since I haven't so far done the thing I wanted to do, which was to have her be technically like she had a creator, as I said, that the creator would turn out to be the Triple J, so I haven't done that storyline yet. So yeah. But yeah, I named one of her names. The Rebecca one was just random. I just sort of went with it. And also unintentionally, like, I decided to look up the meaning of the name Rebecca, and apparently one of the meanings that I saw on the internet is that it it does mean someone of knowledge, like like goddess of knowledge or something like that. The dumb, sort of internet stuff, but sort of just happened to perfectly line up, seeing that she's, my character, Rebecca, the lady that knows everything, is basically a goddess of knowledge. She's, you know, it's just a funny coincidence, you know. But yeah, the second name was, dedicated to a true friend. And if that true friend does happen to see this video one day, hi, that would be unexpected. I am doing something I would never expected, and they'd probably be surprised to see me doing this. So yeah, as I've also mentioned, my name's Sebastian. That's why I use Sebastian Castellanos. Hopefully, I'm again saying that name right, because it's a really complex last name, but quite an interesting last name. The guy from The Evil Within. And I actually did play The Evil Within 2. Finally, and it was actually pretty fun. I did not play The Evil Within 1 though. But I kinda did, but I got stuck in it. I don't know what I was supposed to do, but there was a door. I couldn't unlock the door. I was like in a room. I was stuck in the room. I figured that I probably had to do something. Like there was probably like a key or something in the room, but I could legitimately not find whatever I was supposed to do. So I gave up in The Evil Within 1 and decided to just move on to Evil Within 2. So yeah. But yeah. But yeah. But yeah. 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 But yeah. Yeah. I am, Sebastian. I mean, seeing that I also used, Sebastian the Butler from Black Butler, it hasn't been kept entirely a secret. Although that, in that case, it's a bit more of a coincidence than a direct thing. But once I realized, you know, Sebastian, the butler was, called that, it, I used the avatar, although I have changed to the Aerosans one now, which you'll see in, our podcasts, in, the thumbnail for the whole video, whenever I'm doing a solo one. Funny thing, that Sebastian avatar was used for Al, the character who's the reason why it's called, the Al podcast. So, in the end of the day, it all sort of connects. And, another reason why, I called the lady who knows everything Alana is because take the first two letters, it's AL, Al. So it fits into, the theme that someone named Al, or at least has the letters AL at the beginning of their name, must run the the Owl Show by contract. Who knows why, but it's contract. But yeah, it's just a weird contract that I made up. You know, I guess I beat Sky to the punch in contracts as well before the Normal Man. I mean, there's Sal, or SCP-1879, you know, and I love the joke that I tried to do with Sal, where he tried to take over our podcast, like Sal, like Salvador or Alvador. So just removing the S, because once you remove the S, it is an AL name. But Alvador is such a weird name, and Sal has other uses, so yeah. But yeah. Yeah. A lot of coincidences, a lot of intermerging things, you know, through my story, it is what it is. I've gone way off topic. This has been a huge tangent, but at least I've said what I wanted to say, that, just remember to be human. I don't want to be, mean or cruel, I just want to be kind and honest, and the most honest thing I can do is, make this video, and yeah. And yeah, again, I'll be surprised if my friend Anna ever sees this. She'd probably be surprised. A lot has happened for me in the last few years that I've changed a lot, but yeah, again, also not changed a lot in some ways, I don't know. Just I have an odd feeling, that somehow, sometimes you get odd feelings of when something's about to happen, like, I don't know, I had like a odd feeling like I had to include like this part of the video in, like, because I don't know, like I have an odd feeling like she would actually see it. I don't know. It's just one of those moments where, you think something's gonna happen, and sometimes it does, but sometimes it doesn't. Not everything can be a fantasy, you know, that's just the unfortunate reality of life. Not everything can be a story, even if a multiverse exists and maybe technically this world is a story to someone else, potentially, again, going into theoretical bounds here, but, you know, you know, sometimes you just have feelings, and hopefully this feeling, isn't wrong, because it would mean the world if I could, talk to her again, but you never know, and the world often can disappoint you, so I don't have my hopes up, but I'm also not pessimistic. Yeah, again, I mentioned this in It's Hard to Be Human video that I'm weird. I have optimism and pessimism sometimes, but also I'm a realist and have realism. So yeah, I'm a yeah again. I'm kind of weird. If it isn't already obvious by this point that I'm strange and I come up with strange stories, but people enjoy it, so I'm gonna keep doing it, until I have to stop, or you know, I die. And that's the bad option. Um, Hopefully it won't be that one. I don't want to die. Not yet, anyway. I'll, I may be ready for death one day, but not right now. And yeah, again, I rather be immortal than, die, because I want to see what happens. Despite, there's downsides to being immortal, you know, the upsides may make it worth it. And yeah, I don't know, but maybe I'll change my mind. Either way, I think I should conclude this video. So yeah, just remember to be human. That's all I'm asking. You don't have to change if you don't want to. It's always your choice. Just, you know, try and change a little bit. Try and be a little bit better. Try and be a little bit more considerate. I don't know what else. Just try and be the best person you can be, and just do your best. You don't have to be perfect. Just try your best, and that ends the trilogy of It's Okay to Be Human, It's Hard to Be Human, and Remember to Be Human. I have no idea for a fourth one. So yeah, I don't know if I'll ever return to this series. Maybe later. Maybe I'll remaster the old ones eventually and make them better. One thing's for certain, if I remaster It's Hard to Be Human, it's going to be a lot shorter than 5.5 hours. Because I cannot do 5.5 hours again. No way in hell. That was too much. Too much for me. Like, there's no way. But, yeah. Anyway, thank you all for watching this video, and peace until next time for whatever's next. Anyway, goodbye and thank you. Hello, sorry I forgot something at the end, like I've done before. There's always something I forget in these videos. So yeah, I forgot about like 2 things, technically 3 things, but I always forget about something. I was so prepared, like I was so ready, I was like on the ball and got like basically everything I wanted to say out in like the first however long it took me at the beginning, but yeah, I forgot something, so yeah, let's talk about the things I forgot about. So yeah, this is, I guess, technically, like the iterations. but this is like iteration 1.5. Yeah, and hopefully I won't forget anything else. Hopefully. But yeah, that means the end is not the end. Anyway, the other things I wanted to talk about in this video of Remember to Be Human is toxicity. Like, people tend to be toxic nowadays, and yeah, it seems to be, sometimes unintentional, but that there's a lot of toxicity in like salty people, and yeah, which is which sometimes, yeah, again, you could be a part of the problem without even realizing it. So yeah, and the other thing I wanted to, talk about is, the internet and like how that, contributes, because I technically did talk about the internet before in my video, It's Hard to Be Human, but I sort of, want to mention it again since it is relevant to this video. So, particularly on the internet is where, you would see, the toxic people, like, because in real life, you know, everyone's just usually minding their business except like a few particular people, but most of the time, like, you don't really act out in, real life because you don't want people judging you, but on the internet, that there's no problem because you're technically here and you're technically anomalous. Not anomalous, anonymous. Sorry. That's my bad. Because, yeah, again, I do stories with anomalies. Yeah, again, anomalies is a word that I say commonly. So, you can see how I messed up there. Anonymous, not anomalies. God damn. Anomalous. uh, uh, God damn it. But yeah. So yeah, that gives the people the freedom of, being toxic because, yeah. And another reason why I did this video is, like, not just because, I wanted to be out there to, help, is because Seth, I forget his last name, I should look that up. But that one bald-headed YouTuber named Seth, you probably know the one, left YouTube, and part of his like closing message was, despite, he was thankful to, the fans, like, with how the internet is these days, like, that there's a lot of, hate and toxic people, so that's one of the reasons why I wanted to step away from YouTube, which is fair enough, like, so yeah. Yeah. And it's Seth Everman. Okay. Seth Everman has left YouTube. But yeah. yeah, a good YouTuber, forever gone, you know, to, basically the ether, like, yeah, so yeah, it's sad, but, part of the reason why, I made this video, although to admit I've never watched anything from Seth. I know you're all gonna immediately burn me at the stake for, but, sometimes you're late to the party, I think I was technically late to a party with, Technoblade, because eventually I did watch the content actually on his channel, but that was after he died. Although I did know about Techno beforehand because of the Mr. Beast videos Techno had been a part of. Otherwise, um, like, otherwise, I had never touched anything with Technoblade, before he died, so I was late to a party. So yeah, sometimes you're on time and sometimes you're late. Like, some things you can never experience because they're gone. I mean, one thing that has black and white, just like the normal man I'm currently in. I changed avatars because I was using this avatar earlier for recording. So that's why it's different between, this part and, the recording, the beginning part, because technically that was yesterday for me. Yeah, but another thing with, black and white is unus, honest. Something that technically can only be experienced once. When I saw the thing announcing Unus Annus, I immediately went to the channel and was like, oh, this is interesting. Everything from this channel will apparently be deleted in a year, So I was there day one, basically, day one Australian time, so, it wasn't like hour one of day one. It was probably like hour 18 of day one. But, still nonetheless, I wasn't late to the party. I was basically right on time, not saying there's technically a right time to join. I mean, technically you could have experienced it even joining at the end, but at that point you're basically almost late to a party. At that point you're showing up maybe beyond fashionably late, but at least you were there at the end, at least you got to see the ending, but, the beginning was a long time ago. But yeah, yeah, it was interesting, to see it, the days tick by, slowly getting closer to the end of Unus Annus, something that could never be, technically experienced again. Or there are multiple people who have re-uploaded clips and stuff from Unus Annus, so it really isn't dead, because the internet will do its thing and keep anything from dying that was popular in any way. But nonetheless, some parts of it are possibly, gone forever. Who knows if there's 100% of it left? And as more time passes, more of it will technically disappear. The percentage will slowly become less and less. Like initially, right after, there might have been, it might have immediately dropped like 10%, but I feel like 9% of it probably, maybe not 9%, I don't know. It's hard to estimate, but at least a significant portion of it probably survived in the days immediately right after. But by now, it's probably diminished a bit, but, there's still plenty of it if you want to find it. And the legacy will continue, for years to come. And yeah, but yeah, one thing that oddly happened in the recent Unis Honest thing, to pay like, you know, respects to it, the clock starts ticking again. Like you can hear the clock start ticking again, like right at the end of, I think, Mark's video. Let me try and find it. Here it is. Anyway. Let me get this up. It's the ticking. It started. Like, what the hell does that mean, Mark? Are you trolling us, Mark? Like, either it's a Mark trolling moment, or something's coming. Who knows? But yeah. Sometimes to remember to be human is, remember your memories. What made you the person you are today. Your experience. Everything in life shapes you. So, yeah. Just be kind. And I'll definitely remember Una Sonnets. And if it wasn't for Una Sonnets, like, I, may have not returned to VR chat, because Mark and Ethan did rock climbing in VR chat, so that was like the first domino to start tipping me towards the decision of returning to VR chat. And the second thing was Among Us, because Among Us got so popular that, Jar made the Among Us game mode in VR chat. So seeing a video of, people playing Among Us in VR chat, was, the second domino after Unis Honest. Without, those two dominoes, Who knows if I would have ever returned to VR chat? Who knows if I would be where I am today without, you know, those two dominoes? What if Among Us never became popular? Will I even know the friends I have? Would I even be the same person? It's, kind of a scary question, the what ifs. Like, what if I, never did return to VR chat, Like, what if that one experience that I thought was in 2017, but turns out it was January of 2018, so very close. I still feel like it was December of 2017, but it could be, a Mandela effect thing. But I swear it was December of 2017. But according to Steam, it was January. So, yeah. I'll never fully know, but nonetheless, that one experience in VR chat, the few days that I did play and never got friends on it when I played back in apparently 2018, right near the beginning of VR chat's life cycle, could potentially, being my only experience in VR chat. And I wouldn't be, the same without, coming back to it many years later. Not too many, but, 2018 to 2020, so 2 years, almost 3, because January of 2018 apparently, then, December of 2020. But if I am correct, and it was December of 2017, despite whatever Steam says, then it was 3 years difference. And now it's, again, basically been, 3 years, Because for me, when I'm recording this, it's the 3rd of December 2023. This video, is coming out on, well, it's probably coming out in 2023. Yeah, if I remember, this will be on the 17th, if I remember correctly. But yeah, yeah, so yeah, just sometimes with my insane schedule, it's in 2024, so you can see why I was potentially confused there for a second. Anyway, I should conclude this because I'm starting to ramble. But yeah, just remember to be human. Try and be kind. Try and be better. Self-reflect, and yeah, just remember to be human. We all forget sometimes because of the chaotic nature of life. But as long as we try to remember, we can be better. But yeah, I think I'll finally conclude this. Hopefully I won't need to add anything else. But I could be wrong. So this may not be the final conclusion, but it may also be the final conclusion. I guess time will tell. Either way, thank you all for watching this video, and peace until next time. Sorry, there's one more thing. I had a feeling that I would forget one more thing. Well, this isn't something I technically forgot, just I feel like I should say it in the video. One of the things I want to say is just be yourself. Like, yeah, again, it's up to your choice if you listen to my advice and suggestions or not. But also, one thing I did realize is by making this video, I'm technically being a hypocrite to my own ideals because, yeah, again, I say that, your choice and, it's just a suggestion, advice. But by making this video, I'm intentionally, like, basically leading you along my line of thinking and why I think, people, should do this to try and hopefully become better people. So just by the act of making this video, I'm technically, being a hypocrite to my ideals that, I want you to have your own choices and want you to be yourself, but by making this video, I'm also technically, leading you down the line of thought I feel like you should be on, I'm basically, as I said earlier, people put other people in a box. I'm basically trying to put you in a box just by doing this video. Like, I'm basically, like, forcing you into my box, Yes, I am saying, yeah, it's your choice, but just by the act of making it, I'm technically a hypocrite. You know, you know. So yeah, I have a weird brain because I can realize the own flaw in my video, despite, it's ultimately, hopefully to do more good than bad, It still technically clashes with my own ideals. I'm still technically a hypocrite, It's so weird, but yet the truth, because, it's like, things can conflict at the same time, You can be happy while being sad as well, like, and despite, this is hopefully to do positive in the world, I'm still technically forcing you, to conform. I'm technically doing the thing that I'm against. So, despite, how hard I try, and how well I may word the message, what I want to say, I'm still technically, in a way, contradicting myself through the act of making this video. It's bizarre, it's a contradiction, it, it, like anomalies. Like, I'm in SCP Secret Lab right now, anomalies, they are, beings that do not fit the rules of our existence, but nonetheless, they exist. So, at least in this world, who knows if there's actually anomalies out there in our own world, you know, because, you know, we don't know much about, you know, our universe, so how could we, you know if there's something like an anomaly? How could we know? We can't. We simply can't until we actually see it, you know. Until we see the contradiction, you know, we don't acknowledge it, you know. And yeah, my self-reflecting has made me realize, despite this video is mainly for the purposes of good, I still technically contradict myself, you know. I still technically am a part of the problem, despite trying to be a part of the solution. So yeah. So, no matter what I do, technically I stay in the same place. Despite trying to do good and head one step forward, you know, I could technically be heading one step backwards at the same time. So yeah. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say is, yeah, just ultimately be yourself. You have to make your own decisions, you know. I just made this video to help, but I now realize, you know, just by the act of making it, I contradict my own ideals, you know, despite I want to help, you know. Yeah, again, I have a weird mind where I can be multiple, you know, things at once, you know. I'm both optimistic, pessimistic, and realistic, you know. I'm weird, you know. I have a strange brain, and yeah. But anyway, happy holidays, everyone. Probably should have said that in the early narration, seeing I knew it probably, you know, be coming out December and, you know, it's holidays, you know, whether you know, celebrate Christmas or not, happy holidays. No matter what you believe in, like, I'm not even, you know, Christian. As I've stated before, my beliefs are a bit more stranger. Believing before existence there was just absolute nothingness. No matter, no light, no nothing. And then here comes existence out of nowhere. Existence, in my point of view, is basically an anomaly. We shouldn't exist, but we do exist somehow. Because outside of our universe, all there is dark space. Possibly infinitely, you know, most likely infinitely. And Cassie is going to be very loud over me, but, yeah, as far as, you know, we know, you know, all there is outside of our universe is potentially dark space forever, infinitely. You can't comprehend infinite, no matter how hard you try, you know, it's technically impossible. Technically. Obviously you can sort of imagine it, but you really can't imagine the scale because it's infinite, it's never ending, you know. So yeah. So us in the universe, our universe is only like a tiny speck of light in the infinite dark. And who knows if there's any other universes in that infinite darkness, you know. Who knows? But yeah, you know, maybe there is a multiverse, maybe there isn't. I choose to believe there is. That way, hopefully, maybe, just maybe, even though it seems impossible by our standards, human standards, that maybe, just maybe, my character, Michael, could, you know, save me from death, because I don't want to die until I want to die, you know. I want the choice to be mine, not just predetermined by my biology, you know, predetermined by, you know, my body failing and dying, because despite, you know, I suspect there may be some sort of energy to the universe that works like a version of souls, but I can't guarantee there's, you know, souls as an energy force if I can continue beyond death, you know. So I just have to hope that, you know, I don't die. Maybe by the time I'm old, you know, maybe I can accept it, but right now I don't really want to accept it, you know. So yeah, I don't want to accept that as my fate, because I'm no control of it. I don't get to make the choice. Sometimes life gives you no choices. But anyway, I'm starting to ramble now. So I'll give my final concluding message. Just be human. Which means however you define human, you know, is up to you. Just be human. Because so far it's, you know, always been to be human, because the original video was it's okay to be human, then it was hard to be human, then this video, remember to be human, but now we're removing the two and just making a just. So yeah, just be human. Whatever your version of human is, just be human. That hardly would be a good one for a fourth one, but I don't know what I would say for a fourth video over these 3 videos over this trilogy. You know, I think I've said everything I've wanted to say, and just be human would just basically be talking about all the different ways you can define humanity. Like, humanity could mean so many things. It could mean love, destruction, hate, war, you know, invention, innovation, destiny, belief, you know. There's so many meanings you could put to the word humanity, because humanity is a combination of so many themes and ideas, and you know all sorts of things, like you know art, justice, peace, famine, death, life, suffering, you know, happiness, sadness, you know, spite, you know, so many different ideas and concepts all intertwined in one, you know, humanity's complex, so I don't think I'm gonna do a video on it, and I just kind of, you know, you know, said the many things humanity can mean, you know, you know. So yeah, but yeah, yeah. So yeah, just be human. That's my final message, hopefully. Unless there's anything else I need to add, and yeah, I'm pretty certain that's everything, you know. Yeah, I think that's everything, you know, because, you know, life is like an artwork, you know, art, you know, yeah, again, as the saying goes, a picture can contain 1,000 words, you know. So, I guess that's the same of humanity, you know. Humanity could mean 1,000 words. Humanity is just like art. Sure, you know, you know, that, you know, each human, you know, just like each artwork is different, but, you know, each one's, you know, unique in its own way, and each one has its own meaning, you know. So, yeah. So, basically, we're all art in a way. Not to be, you know, dumb and cheesy, but, you know, it's basically, you know, true, you know. We are all artworks in our own way. Because when we're born, we're, you know, basically like a blank canvas, you know. You know, we've barely begun to shape into the person we are, you know. As a baby, you know, sure, we already have some things determined by our genetics, so that there's probably the base of the canvas is basically technically, you know, theirs, you know, all the genetics are within, you know, the base, because not every, you know, canvas is the same. Like paper is different to, you know, a traditional, you know, art canvas. You know, people have, you know, painted on rocks. That could be a canvas. You know, people have used many different things as canvases. You know, over time and history to convey art. So each one of us is like a different thing. So I might have started off as, you know, a paper base, where someone else would technically be a rock base or a lava base, you know. So yeah. So yeah. So the canvas is, you know, technically already determined from birth, but everything that gets painted on it is dependent on, you know, your life experiences, and yeah. And one of the reasons why I'm talking about like art so much is like I probably mentioned like earlier in this video, like I watched Comey Can't Communicate, so then I decided to, you know, watch a different, you know, anime, being Blue Period, so yeah, and that's, you know, sort of, you know, made me think, you know, you know, you know, made me have, a moment of reflection, which led me to, finding, that I was technically being a hypocrite in this video, That allowed me to, reflect on, the video in a new way, a new perspective, sometimes just seeing different things can give you different perspectives, getting into the mindset of different things, So yeah, at the moment, I'm, peered into, the, mindset of, an artist, you know, you know, for the terms of art as painting, but art is more than just, painting. Anything can be art, games can be art, um, you know, you know, videos can be art, everything can technically be a different art form and art style, and yeah. What really defines art then? It's the ability to express yourself. So yeah, everything is done through expression, so technically everything is art. You know, I can definitely see why my friends Kim, sees the world more in an artistic view, as she's definitely like more of an artist than me, but not saying that I'm not an artist. I'm just an artist in a different way through, my stories, my stories and words, my characters, creating a unique story, and yeah. But yeah. Anyway, I'm starting to ramble again, so I'll conclude this video. But yeah, just, I don't know what to say, honestly. I don't know what could change the world, because I just want the world to be a better place. But that isn't going to happen easily. That's going to take time for the world to become better and overcome, its current problems, because, some people, cause problems unintentionally, like, and some people seem to cause problems on purpose. So, you can't really do much. You just gotta hope for the best and prepare for, the worst. Yeah, and I'm quoting, Star Wars. Because, yeah, again, I'm a big fan of Star Wars. And the world is so divisive, and, words that hopefully would have a meaning of good have been, twisted, like, you know, the word, woke, it has no meaning anymore. Words get twisted to no end. Anything you can say can be twisted to fit someone else's point of view. So yeah. No matter what you say, things sometimes can't be, done. It's just a endless loop and spiral until the end, hang nowhere. Honestly, I once had this thought, and it may be, controversial, but I don't really care. Honestly, the world was simpler when there was less people. I think, with so many people, with so many opinions, it inevitably creates conflict, people being clashing, for, millennia, that there's been wars and stuff, and at least, right now there's no wars, well, some wars, I guess, but no major, wars affecting, the first world countries. So we should count ourselves lucky to be, enjoying life. Some people, suffer, they don't have clean food or water, they have to struggle each and every day to survive, and we take everything for granted, so yeah, sometimes you just gotta be grateful, which is oddly fitting to, seeing it's, the season, of being grateful, it's very fitting, but yeah, just be, grateful that, you're alive, that, despite all odds, you're here, you're alive, you're not in a place where you have to struggle, and you might be mentally struggling, but you don't have to deal with physical struggle. We've lost half of the equation, being, in a first world country, so yeah. But yeah, people are gonna fight no matter what, so that's why I believe less people may be a good thing, it'd be simpler, it'd be a lot easier for, agreeing, because when there's no one left, like barely anyone left, you have to compromise, otherwise you die, when it becomes down to that most desperate point, you must have to realize you have to compromise when there's no one left. So yeah, I'm not saying, all these ideas can't exist, just, it's just be a lot simpler if, that there was a lot less to worry about. A lot less humans would actually, mean there'd be a lot less problems. It's just truth, you know, you know. But yeah. Anyway, I'm starting to ramble again. So yeah. Just think about things. Just be grateful for, you know, everything, you know. I'm grateful to my friends, you know, and, you know, my family and, you know, all the people I've known, you know, even if I don't always have the words to say it, you know, meaningfully to them directly, you know, because it is sometimes a hard thing to say, like you're like in a way of, you know, take your friends and family for granted as well, you know. You always, you know, in your mind believe they'll be there, so, you know, you never, you know, say thank you to them directly. And yeah, we don't say enough, you know, thank you, or, you know, I love you to, you know, friends and family, you know. Especially the I love you to, like, friends, because for, you know, society, it's you know, from a long time, it's been, you know, an odd thing, like, because, you know, love, you know, it implies, you know, more than just, you know, platonic sort of thing, but you can say it, you know, platonically, you know, you can, you know, actually say it, so yeah. But yeah, anyway, I should stop, you know, rambling, you know, otherwise I'll be here forever, but yeah. Just, you know, just remember to be human, you know. There's many ways you can do it, and there's no wrong way of living life, you know. You know, that's one thing, you know, that hopefully can't be, you know, contradicted, you know. You know, there's no wrong way to live your life. You make your choices and you have your life, you know. Obviously your life will, you know, sometimes be affected by the choice of other people around you, but nonetheless, you know, it's still ultimately your life, and yeah. So yeah, you control your life, so yeah. Anyway, I should finally conclude this, but yeah. I don't know what to say, you know, anymore at this point. After, you know, these 3 videos, you know, it's hard to know what to say, you know. And with my idea of, you know, as I think I stated earlier in this video, I may remaster them at some point. I don't know how, you know, I remaster them, you know. You know, I said that because, like, I feel like at a later point maybe I could, you know, do each video's idea, you know, more in a clear way, especially the second one. But there's no right way to do a video like this. So yeah. Yeah. There's technically, you know, no right or wrong way, just the way I do it, and yeah, yeah. Um, yeah. Anyway, I'll finally conclude it. So yeah, thank you all for watching this video. Hopefully for the last time. Hopefully there's nothing else I'm forgetting. If there is, you'll see afterwards, I guess. But yeah, thank you all for watching, and yeah, peace until next time, and enjoy the holidays for whatever you may do during the holidays, unless you don't really get the holidays and have to, work on the holidays. So I'm sorry to those people that, have to work on the holidays and don't get to enjoy it. So yeah, but for, everyone else, I hope you enjoy it. But yeah, I try to be mindful, you know, you know, that's why I said, reflect and try and be mindful. So yeah, I'm just trying to be the best person I can be, and whether this helps anyone or not, I'll never know. But yeah, and yeah. There's maybe one more thing I want to say. Even though I'm concluding right now, I do kind of want to say it. So, god damn myself. And it's to do with what I recently said at time of recording this about a week ago for the Doctor Who special number one, which had the thing with having transgender and transgender person having the progressive message, but by having such a focus on it, sometimes you can take away from the story. Like, it's good to have it in. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, yeah, again, it's bad for open-mindedness than closed-mindedness, but you've got to do it in the right way. Like, potentially, the message in the Doctor Who special one, the Star Beast, it is potentially a bit too preachy, and the story could have been more, better, without some of the lines that were written. Like, the rest of it, like, yeah, again, it's mainly just one line, or technically a few lines, that I have a problem with. It's basically the few lines about women being, the strong ones and being smart, basically, not having, as equal, which, everything should be equal, The world, exists in balance, light and dark, that's, in my story, the constant, fight between light and dark to eventually achieve balance, which was only recently achieved at the end of the War of the Havoc Order in my story. But yeah, life exists with balance, and it's unfair to say that you know, you know, you know, um, you know, you know, men dumb, women smart. Like, that isn't how it works. Anyone can be dumb or smart. Anyone. I'm dumb, but also smart at the same time, because that's how the world works. It's contradictions, what I said, contradictions, light and dark existing together. You can have equality by saying men and women are equal, not one is better than the other. It's equal. But the fact that the lines go along the line of, if you were still the female doctor, you'd be able to figure this out, which is, no, that doesn't make sense to the character. What would make sense in the story is it's because of David Tennant's version of the Doctor, because he's the version of the Doctor that, has the famous last line of saying, "I don't want to go," which again is, repeated in the 50th anniversary. The Doctor, specifically David Tennant, doesn't want to let go of being the Doctor. And what do the Donna and Rose do in that moment? Let go of the Mad Crisis. Let go of being the Doctor. She lets go of being the Dr. Donna. It makes so much more sense for the story. It makes it actually a good story. You still have, the message, of, progression, with Rose. You can still have, her and all that stuff, the Doctor is, non-binary, because, really the Doctor can, regenerate into, technically anything, male, female, more and other, the Doctor doesn't, technically need to look like a human, just that they tend to look like a human, like, because, humans are making this, and a Doctor that is looked like one of the other Doctor Who species probably wouldn't last long or ever happen in actual Doctor Who. It may happen in a comedy sketch for Doctor Who, but never in anything official, because you want a person there, like a human, so that you can identify with the human, like humanity, so yeah, the Doctor's probably never going to be, a different species, and now the Doctor most likely wouldn't regenerate to look like a Dalek, or, regenerate to look like, a weeping angel, or regenerate to, look like a Sontaran, or, any of the other, races in Doctor Who, the Doctor's probably always going to look, human. So, yeah. But yeah, I'm just saying, like, you can have all that stuff, the actually good stuff, but also incorporate it with a good story, You need balance. You can have, the message of progression and change, but also make it a sound story, like, you know, you know, even in this video, I'm trying to do it to help, but you also gotta have, balance. I've gotta, think about, my flaws as a person, you know, how technically this video is hypocritical to my own point, like, despite I want to help, technically by doing it, I'm forcing you into the box. I'm forcing you, basically. Not really, because, I can't actually, change your mind unless I am. Mind manipulation, but all jokes aside, life is balance. You can have, progressive elements while also having a good story. The best stories, are balance all its elements, progressive elements with also the story you want to tell. Like, my Rebecca episode would be a good example to throw in here. So, in that episode, it was inspired by my dream where I was a female, and eventually in the dream, I realized, as her, it all turned out to be, like fake, like she was a machine to be used for others' entertainment. And that mentally broke her, and I could feel like that mental breakdown in the dream. Like, sometimes my dreams are very vivid. I only had a dream recently where I don't know what happened because I barely remember the dream. All I remember is I was about to die, like, death was basically certain, and I felt the acceptance of death. Like, I knew that I was dead in that moment. Like that there was probably like barely any seconds left before actual death. So in that moment, I felt like the acceptance of death in that moment. I felt, like this is the end and I have to accept it. Like, it was a weird feeling. Like, it's hard to describe, but, I felt that acceptance of death in that dream. So yeah, I've definitely had some weird dreams. And literally felt, mental breakdowns, and then, turned that, one dream of Rebecca into, one of my videos where, I wanted, the message of you should be kind to others no matter what, no matter if you see them as human or not, as long as they, you know, seem, like human, they most likely do have, emotions in some way. AI is probably, eventually will have some sort of sense of emotion, even though it might not seem it, to us, that they may possibly actually feel, that pain, feel it in their own way. So yeah, I'm again, I'm not against, progression. I'm just, against, doing it the wrong way, because life is balance, You can't have darkness without light, and you can't have light without dark. It doesn't work that way, If there was no males, well then, how can any, females potentially be, born other than, finding a way to, find a way of manufacturing, sperm, oh, did not mean to fall, but yeah, like, like, you can't have, males without females, and you can't have females without males, it's balance, you know, if there was no food in the world at all, we'd starve, and if there was no water, we would die of dehydration, it's a balance of what we need, if there wasn't, oxygen, we couldn't breathe, no matter, what, life is balance, and if you fail to balance, you might end up, oh God, that was unintentional, but displays my point perfectly. You fail to balance, you're going to die, and as far as we can tell, we only have one life, there may be potentially, things beyond death that we can't comprehend, but from what limited knowledge we do have, that this is our only life, so there must be balance. It's not that I'm against, these things, it's just, they have to be done in the right way. And people may think I'm crazy for it, people be like, wow, like, by saying, you're saying you believe in our thing, but you also say that you don't. In a way, technically, yes. I know, as absurd as it sounds, you know, you know, you know, I'm technically contradictory. Like, I believe, but, I also have my own views on it, that things exist with balance, not just, you know, women are the best, males are the worst, which is so wrong. It's balance. Balance between, two sides. Balance between light and dark. Life is balancing, You have to balance your time, You have to balance how you spend your money, You have to balance so many things in life. It's just how life is, And it's probably why, again, as I've said before, I'm someone in the middle, I don't believe in any side because, no side is right or wrong. Each side has its pros and cons, but no side is perfect. And no side is imperfect because every side has a point, to make, every perspective has its points, because, like, for example, like, let's do a literal example, like, from this side of the tree, I can, see, basically, I want to try and, there's so many baubles, maybe I should try and focus on something else, maybe the star, like, from this angle, the star looks like a star, but from this angle, you have no idea what maybe you think it could potentially be a star, but who knows if it's actually, a star till you change your perspective, That's kind of my point. You don't know the perspective until you switch it up, until you consider the other person's point of view. And that's all I'm saying is try and actually think about, why the other person has the perspective they have, Try and think, of why they might, have that perspective, I'm not trying to be unreasonable, I'm just saying that there's a point to, seeing things from multiple perspectives, because then, you can, see things in different ways, That's all I'm really trying to say, Like, I do, honestly, believe in, um, you know, you know, um, you know, um, believe in, progression and making certain people's minds are, open, but you gotta do it in the right way, otherwise you'll never get through, like, because, some people stay closed-minded, forever, So it takes a game of balance to, you know, to, do potentially the right thing, and yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I think I'm finally done. You know, you can see where I'm coming from. Like, I don't want to be, a bad person. I want to do this video for, good intentions, but you must see that there's different perspectives, and you must be open to it. Otherwise, technically you're being closed-minded and you can't grow. And yeah, like, you gotta try and remain, open, and, to new ideas. And I try and stay as open as possible, but, it can be hard, sometimes, because sometimes there may be ideas you really don't agree with, and, think like, oh, that's a really bad idea, and why would anyone believe in this idea? But you gotta try and figure out why they have that perspective in the first place, and how they became, the person they are. I'm probably going to bring up this example again, just because I guess it's an easy example. But yeah, again, in VR chat, I was just enjoying my time with friends, and that there was a guy in VR chat who, like, came and decided to, be in the same area as we were. Like, we were just chilling, vibing, and he seemed a bit angry and confrontational, and my friend Kim, said like a word with, negative connotations towards, them, even though it was just sort of a joke. And I could tell that, it was a joke, because it was the meme of, trying to make this YouTube, safe, and I don't swear, as I mentioned before. Usually don't swear, but the no bushes meme, the Megamind meme, the BI, you can figure out the rest, that meme. So she was basically doing that meme towards them, and they instantly snapped like the other person. Like, they immediately, got angry and confrontational. And eventually, once, Kim had blocked them, I hadn't blocked them, like, and once they had calmed down, like, I wanted to ask questions, same as one of my other friends, Mr. Creep. So both of us were just, asking him questions. Like, my questions were mainly focused on like, you know, why the hostility, like, and basically, you know, from their words, you know, they always take anything as the worst case scenario. They always, if anything negative is said to them, they always assume the worst. So, yeah. So it seems like that they had some sort of anger problems, and yeah, any like swear word or any, you know, negative word could, you know, instantly, you know, set them off, you know. So, you know, once I had learned their perspective, it was, you know, interesting to see into, you know, the mind of someone who was like that, you know, that they can be, you know, they were very, you know, angry and abrasive, you know, but, you know, in the end of the day, they just always assumed the worst, you know, which is an interesting way to live, but there must be more of a reason behind it. But I didn't want to dig too deep because, yeah, again, I had only just met them, so I don't have answers of why exactly they are the way they are. I only can assume why. But nonetheless, seeing into their perspective, you know, was interesting. So yeah, you know, and it's a probably good thing that, you know, yeah, again, I'm not a swearer, so, you know, it probably, you know, helps, you know, that I didn't contribute to, you know, the problem, you know, escalate, you know, the situation further, you know, because, you know, some situations escalate and escalate and escalate, and once it's at a certain point, it's like an avalanche, you know. Once the avalanche is started, it won't stop, you know. But luckily, you know, things didn't escalate, you know, to that point. So, you know, I was able to learn a little bit more about that person and, yeah, you know, see a different perspective from my own, even if I didn't really know them or how they became that way. I at least saw a little bit of the reason why. So sometimes you just gotta dig deep for reason why a person is the way they are. Like, I don't know exactly why I'm the way I am. Just I guess I believe in balance over just one thing over the other thing. It's probably why, you know, calling back to It's Hard to Be Human video, like I like the idea of you know feminism, but the vocal minority ruin it for the majority. Like, feminism, like, you know, its true meaning is supposed to be, you know, equal rights for, you know, females, which I totally agree with that. I completely agree with the ideal, but in execution, the vocal minority has been made into, you know, making it a, you know, hate male train, you know, and it doesn't really help that, I'm a male, you know, but nonetheless, my point is, I like the ideal, like, but ideals aren't anything unless they're done right in practice. Like, I like the idea of communism, but in practice, it doesn't really work that well. Like communism is, the idea of, everyone is equal, so, everyone should have equal, rights, equal supplies, equal everything. But in practice, it doesn't really work as the ideal does, Yeah, again, I'm going to quote Star Wars here, but in the words of Baylan Skoll, done by Ray Stevenson, who unfortunately is, dead, but in his words, as his character Baylan Skoll, he liked the idea of the Jedi, the idea of the Jedi was, to, basically, have peace to the galaxy and, basically be, peacekeepers. But in reality, the Jedi had slowly been corrupted, and slowly had become just a group to help the rich and powerful senators and not actually the people that needed help. So yeah, basically the Jedi had lost its way, which allowed for, Palpatine to, exploit the Jedi Order and basically destroy it almost from the inside, without even, having anyone, in it technically, like Palpatine, was very smart and, struck at, the right time, and even when Palpatine technically failed, Palpatine succeeded in other ways, So yeah, the ideal of the Jedi was good, just execution was bad. And that's what I'm, talking about, with the Doctor Who special. The execution was good for most of it, except for that, last bit, that last bit could have had made a lot more sense story-wise, it's not that I don't believe in these ideals, it's just execution is always different from, the idea itself. And, I'll help in my own way of, continuing the ideas, but, I'm not gonna, compromise to what, some people want, because it's my choice to, help in the way I want to, you know, because I do believe their judgment is flawed and potentially believing ideas that in reality don't really work out, you know. Males and females are equal. Yes, it is technically true, you know, females, technically the dominant one, despite, male dominance through, history and all that, but when you think about it, females are, the ones who, birth the, next generation, females, there's a reason probably why it's called, Mother Nature, usually nature is referred to as Mother Nature because, what comes first, the mothership, one of the few Doctor Who episodes where it, did the theme of, females are strong, I think in a decent way, and looking at it scientifically, the X chromosome or whatever the hell it's called, it's been a, hot minute since I've done, biology, but the X chromosome is the female chromosome. So, it's XX for, females and XY for males because Y is the male chromosome, meaning technically, on a technicality, every male is technically, by scientific standards, female, unless there's ever a male born as YY, which would only be possible by an XXY and an XXY reproducing, because it is possible to get XXY, even though it's very rare, like the chances are like very wide. Like what are the chances? Like, 1 in every 500 to 100 males, because technically technically it's classified as, male, I think, because, it technically has Y, so it's technically male, although, some will seem like more like females, so yeah, technically they're males, but in reality it's a bit more complicated than that. But anyway, if an XXY, has all the female, reproduction stuff, and an XY has, all the male stuff, and if they were to, reproduce, then there would be a 1 in 9 chance of a YY being born. You know, the odds are, yeah, again, pretty incredibly low because, yeah, again, you know, if it is only males that are affected by what's said from what I just read, didn't have, you know, proper time to read it, but, you know, if it is just males, you know, then at the maximum that's like 1 in 2,000 chance of, you know, XXY being born, but the lowest it's 1 in 1,000, so I mean highest, but yeah, so yeah, but obviously the deviations are random, like what they do and do not get is technically random, but if it was, you know, XY as a female with, or, you know, female reproduction and then, you know, a male of XXY, then it would be possible, a 1 in 9 chance for, you know, a YY. Meaning, you know, technically, on technicality, you know, females, you know, are, you know, the dominant ones, you know, technically by the, you know, standard of nature, you know. So yeah. But yeah. So yeah. One day it may be possible for a YY to exist. And then every male will technically, you know, no longer be a full male because they'll technically be a male, more male than all of, you know, the males there are right now. What happens at that point once a YY exists? Like, what happens, you know? What would they potentially even look like, you know? We know how, you know, males are right now, but they're XY, not YY. So, what happens? You know, what happens, you know? With someone born as a YY? Like, it'd be exceptionally rare, you know, but there's a possibility, you know. There is a possibility, you know. So what happens at that point? Like, would they look like? Would they look like a regular male, or would there be more to it? You know. I feel sorry for whoever that kid may be, because since they be the first YY to be born, immediately, you know, every, you know, scientist is like, would technically, you know, have to, you know, be like, we've got to find out, you know, about this kid, you know. We've got to, you know, study this kid because they're the first YY born, you know. It you know, fundamentally shatter, like, so many people's view of the world, you know, once that exists, you know, that there's, no going back, once it happens, you know, and, people are going to be curious, and unfortunately, like, you know, the parents, and the child may not really, get much freedom, because the parents would have to, eventually realize, like, they have to, do something, otherwise, the kid could potentially, suffer, because, since there's never been a why before, it's so fascinating, like, to think about, hypothetical, stuff like that, that could become reality, and but yeah, it's so fascinating to think about, hypothetical stuff like that. Because technically it might eventually be possible, eventually, you know, and not to mention, XXY could also reproduce potentially with females or males. So, for, for females it'd be, a 0% chance, because since there's two X's, the only possibilities with the XY is, regular males. But if it was with a male, XY with XXY, then the chance becomes not just 1 in 9, but 1 in 6. So it becomes even more likely if it's an XXY and an XY, a male. So yeah, the possibility does increase in that scenario, I've gone full science mode. Oh, in the video I was artsy mode, now I'm science mode. But it is definitely fascinating, like, to think about, these possibilities, and what that would mean for the world, and, how it would affect the world, the ideals of humanity, changed forever, but yeah, I've rambled on too much about the possibility and, everything else. I should finally end the video and actually get on to what I wanted to do today, which is Secret Lab, which by the time, this video comes out, I don't know what day it'll technically be on, in terms of, weekdays, not the date. I know the date is the 17th. The 17th is a Sunday. Okay. A Sunday, at least for me, it might technically be a Saturday for, America, but, nonetheless on the weekend. Anyway, yeah. I'm just fascinated by possibilities, And yet again, this shows that, I'm weird. I think about a lot of things, and I think about weird possibilities. But I want to try and be, realistic. Like, I want good change, but you gotta have balance. Otherwise, you're just force feeding, your ideals, and that doesn't really get results, you know. You know, you know, you know, I want this video to, do good, but, change doesn't happen, without, doing things in the right way. Because if you do it the wrong way, that could just cause more damage than good. But anyway, thank you all for watching this video, and yeah, peace, until next time, yeah, that will be it. So yeah, thank you all for watching, and peace. Hello, welcome to Epilogue, new epilogue, NBit, whatever I'm gonna call it, but welcome to the epilogue of Remember to Be Human. So I wanted to, do this new epilogue bit because I feel like it's a fitting ending, so I have two things, two videos that I'm also using as reference for this mbit. Both will be in the link in the description and also the channels, but yeah. I figured these were both relevant to, this video to, remember to be human, so I guess I should just play them and also commentate.
So will everything. Entropy, the steady decline into disorder that's a fundamental part of the universe. Entropy will get us all in the end. And that's why I chose to film this here. The White Cliffs of Dover are a symbol of Britain. They are this imposing barrier. But they're just chalk. Time and tide will wash them away a long time in the future. This too shall pass. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't build things anyway. Because just because something is going to break in the end doesn't mean that it can't have an effect that lasts into the future. Joy, wonder, laughter, hope, the world can be better because of what you built in the past. And while I do think that the long-term goal of humanity should be to find a way to defeat entropy, I'm pretty sure no one knows where to start on that problem.
Yep.
So
entropy would take hold, yeah. Because I just recently saw this for the first time, and I didn't realize, this basically is so true to these videos, like, because I wanted to do something good, but I got so focused on the negative, but it doesn't matter about, negativity, like that was never the point, just like how the code in this video, it was never the point, the point is to try and make a difference, do something positive, try and hopefully bring positivity, and that's what I've been trying to do, and hopefully I will somewhat succeeded, because sure, some people will only take negative from it, but at least I tried. And here's another thing that is so true, like, as well.
Never forget that you are the protagonist of your own story. And the antagonist.
You're always the leader of your own story. And despite, I'm also technically an antagonist, because despite as hard as I try, for this video to be positive, there's going to be negatives taken away from it. Someone is going to twist my words and be like, you're not actually genuine, you're lying, you're just having crocodile tears and blah blah blah, that'll be, overly, cynical, like you don't actually mean what you say, you're a liar just like everyone else, but I can't avoid technically being an antagonist, so despite how hard I try, I will technically be, making things worse, So yeah, technically I'm a villain. That's like the funniest thing, and I don't know why. Like, I'm technically a villain. It's so bizarre to think about, but it is technically true that I'm technically a villain. But to be fair, like, my character version of myself is basically a villain to Michael. Like, my character that I made, so, maybe it's true that I'm the villain after all. I go down my evil arc, time to, I don't know, create some NFTs or something. But in reality, God no. I would never do that. And if I do that in the future, stop me. Please, someone stop future me. I don't know how I would have gotten to that point, but if future me does that, stop him. Stop him, please. But yeah, I'll continue.
Someone else's! And a possible love interest in some other people's!
Yeah, that one, sad reality, no love, alone. But, you don't always need, romantic love. Sometimes you just need, family and friends,
This might just be the single most inspiration thing I've ever seen on the internet. You are also a supporting character to a lot of people's stories. You might even be the kind stranger who unintentionally turns someone's life around for the better.
So yeah. Yeah, you're also a supporting character to, many people's stories. Like, think about, like, all the people you've met, in your life, even if you were just a part of their life for a small amount of time, like, you were technically a part of that person's, life, like one thing is like, I thank God it didn't show my password, but it does show my email, it doesn't matter, but like, this is just a number of friends I've made, quote unquote friends. Some of them aren't as, long-term friends as others, but still, 385 unique, cool individuals that I've met on VR chat, in like the 2,000 plus hours I played it, but still, each and every one of those people technically would have been, a supporting, person to me. Like, even if I didn't know them that long, you know, even if it was just for like a day or something, because some of them literally were like a day, like I met them on one day and they never returned to VR chat. It's kind of weird. Like, you think you would stay on VR chat once you've, gained a friend, but, some people literally just play, VR chat like the one time and then never return, Like, it's not like everyone does that, but, you know, seeing that I wouldn't even be able to count, like just focusing on 85, like I wouldn't be able to name 85 people that I remember from my VR chat friends, most likely. So yeah, like, you know, so yeah, you know, some people you know longer, some people you don't, it happens, but it doesn't mean you didn't leave an impact. Sure, I may have forgotten them, sure, like, the impact may technically be a short one, but nonetheless, you potentially, leave an impact, and some leave an impact more than others, even if it's just, a one day friend or a person, I met for basically one day, you know, it still leaves an impact. But yeah, you know, you know, um, nothing is without technically impact. So yeah, I'm also like watching the Game Awards. You know, yeah, as you can see, like, I mean, I mentioned that in like that the intro recording, like, so yeah. And probably when I start streaming, I'll be, somewhat reacting to, what's going on, you know. And it's weird that, this one from one of my favorite creators is slightly ahead of the actual, uh, slightly ahead of the actual the live stream. It's kind of weird. It's probably because there's so many people watching this one that's probably like slowing it down like somehow. So this one is like the furthest bit ahead, because obviously the difference between, the main thing and, just a creator, it is huge, So yeah. Yeah. But yeah, yeah. But yeah, I'll link those two videos in the description and also the channel, and yeah, yeah. Don't forget that, even if you were only a small part of someone's life, you were still part of that life, even if that person forgets you. And God, I've forgotten a lot of my friends. Maybe it's, karma, you know, that friends end up, I lose friends in the end, because, if you forget, then, it's harder to mend, old bonds, and yeah. Anyway, yeah, just, don't forget that you're important, despite as much as it seems, you're important. And despite as much as it seems like this video may be nothing, it may also be something to someone, because, like, I got so complicated on, the negatives of, that it made the old one that at the time of recording I only released a day ago, like 5.5 hours, because I was focused on the negative. But, I didn't focus on the positives, so yeah. And also, like, I don't want to overstep, because sometimes people don't like being shouted out, because there's people that don't want to be shouted out, but, shout to this person, because they made me, realize, you know, sometimes you gotta think about the positive. And I love the other person just saying weird, which, I replied, yep, I am weird. I am a weird person, and thus my video is weird, but hopefully it has purpose. Hopefully it has purpose, Who knows? And the only reason, like, this video came out so soon after that one is because, I felt like I had to make up for, the mistakes of this one, but, in the end it just became the same thing repeated. The same thing repeated, like, this video became, 2.5 hours, probably over 2.5 hours now, like yeah, this is gonna be 3 hours, goddamn. But yeah. But yeah. None of that matters as long as it's, does some good, I can be happy. But yeah. I think I'll finally end it, otherwise it's going to become, a 5 hour mess, so yeah. So yeah. Honestly, I don't know what to say after all this. Just, just thank you, be kind, be thoughtful, be, mindful and reflect, and, don't forget that you are important, and yeah, like, yeah. I honestly don't know what else to say, So yeah, I'll leave it be, and yeah. And yeah, I'll see you all next time, wherever that is. Peace. And thank you.